This podcast episode is not for children. It's not for old people, and it's not for adults. It's really just supposed to be background noise that you can leave on for your cats when you go on vacation, or you can use it to calibrate audio equipment. I can actually make pink noise with my mouth. And I'll just give you a 10-second blast to that, okay? Prepare yourself accordingly. Sorry, it really takes a lot out of me to do that for you. And the doctors say that if I keep doing it, I'm not going to live for too much longer. I'm just trying to be, kind of the Swiss Army knife of podcasts, I'm doing the cat thing. I'm giving you pink noise. I can't believe this is a free podcast. I'm so old, I remember when it was like normal to pay for a podcast. And I get that, there are still paid podcasts, obviously. But I was listening to I don't know, some Ricky Gervais, Carl Pilkington thing. It's the Christmas special is $6. What a strange era in history where I'm paying $6 to hear this. I could just hear this if I close my eyes in a dark room. If I'm in a, sensory deprivation chamber, the voice of Carl Pilkington filters into my consciousness. And I just hear bit boring, isn't it? It's yeah, it's fucking boring. That's the point, Carl Pilkington. Get out of here. But now everything's so much more affordable because you can Klarna a podcast now. You can. I'm Klarnaing cheeseburgers. I'm Klarnaing half of a French fry. And if you default on your payment, they feed the other half to a seagull. Then the seagull has to pay for it. Then the seagull goes into its own debt spiral. Anyway, in other news, I got fooled. I got fooled by an AI video of a kangaroo waiting to board an airline flight, and the little kangaroo had his little airline ticket in its hand, and it was very cute, but it never happened. I thought that it had been staged, because I told my girlfriend about it, and she was like, oh yeah, kangaroos have those little, hands, they can, hold things, so further adding verisimilitude to the video, which turned out to be just pixels. I got tricked by pixels, so you can't trust the pixels anymore. Anyway, that was internet review, just reviewing everything that's been going on the internet. That was it, nothing else. All the other websites shut down. They were hacked by whoever is doing it now, the Kremlin. Who's not launching cyber attacks? I can't think of anybody. I'm pretty sure my library is launching cyber attacks on other libraries just to get their information. You're not allowed to go to the library anymore, by the way. I mean, literally in a town in my state, you literally can't go there now unless you make an appointment, because they had to fire so many people because it's illegal to read. Oh, that actually reminds me, this episode's brought to you by the National Library Foundation. They wanted me to tell you that reading is fundamental. And they made fun in all caps, so that's cool. You think they could have, maybe taken a stand on... But no, I mean, just say reading is fundamental, that's fine. They paid a lot for this. Maybe they aren't very efficient. If they're giving so much money to a podcast that only has 3 weekly listeners. And if you're listening, I don't know if this has dawned on you yet, but you're one of them. Oh wait, there's alternative ad copy here to read too. Maybe they make mention of, just something connected to what's going on right now. Let's see what it says here. It says, it's as easy as ABC, read a book. Then it says send, then it says send message, then it says send message, then it says Siri, send message to Purgatory Podcast at purgatorypodcast.com. Send. But again, it's not really meeting the moment, let's say. I guess we could make movies out of all the books. I mean, I feel like we're kind of in the process of doing that. And that would be a different way to preserve the stories. Which medium do you think has more longevity? I mean, obviously, like, if it's digital data, it's not that the physical hard drives would necessarily break down, but it's more the equipment needed to understand what the hard drives are. If you're like 1,000 years in the future, you're like, wow, everybody really loves tossing all of these metal discs around, apparently, or something. I don't know. I'm not sure what they use these for. We just eat seaweed and breathe through a little vent on our foreheads. Things are different now. But that same civilization, at least, could read Jane Eyre. I'm getting a call now on the Purgatory Podcast phone line. We'll see who's calling. Hello?
Hello.
What can I do for you?
Nothing. Everything you've ever needed to do has already been done. I am from the year 3500. Any questions for me?
Question for you? Well, what do you mean? You're calling my podcast. You're not the star of my podcast.
Okay.
Why do you talk like that?
I'm breathing through a vent in my forehead, and guess what I eat?
Seaweed?
Seaweed. I am the very species which you described. I've determined that these spinning metal discs are not simply toys. They store data.
You mean a hard drive? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, and I developed a device that could read the information. Everyone called me insane. They threw things at me,
The discs.
Yeah, the hard drives, yeah. But I said no, there's more to them. And one of them contained an episode of your podcast when you described a species in the future who eats seaweed.
So why did you actually bother contacting me?
By sending a phone call back in time, which I am capable of doing, I have caught you in a time loop with me.
Okay. How long is that going to take to be done with?
Oh, you're not going to like the answer.
Oh, because it's an infinite time loop. The next 1,500 years repeats over and over again. Who cares? I'm not going to be alive. Well, you don't know my lifespan?
I don't know from listening to the podcast. I'm still getting through the episodes.
All you've been exposed to is my podcast so far?
I just got started.
All right, well, before I let you go, I mean, are you liking the podcast?
No.
Okay. Well, thanks for calling in.
No, wait.
What?
Don't hang up. If you hang up, I cease to exist in this timeline.
So what? Then you'll just go to another timeline. Maybe it would be better. You know, the great mystic poet Rumi once wrote, "This being human is a guest house, every morning a new arrival. He may be clearing you out for some new delight."
What?
Why don't you read that instead of listening to my fucking podcast? Alright, I'm hanging up. Anyway, it's my solemn duty to inform you that unfortunately it's now time for Slurp Von Lipstick to host Time Check. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Slurp Von Lipstick. That's right. That's what it is. You know what it is. Yes, thank you. It's me, Slurp Von Lipstick, the same guy who will be hosting Time Check in the year 3500, I presume. They're going to preserve me by actually just taking my head off and pickling it. You put that in a peat bog, you get a perfectly viable head for the archaeologists of the future to dig out and reanimate. You know, by then everybody's going to be a little iRobot man running around. They're all going to be shooting each other with guns. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a great time to be ahead. It's better than being behind. Folks, I want to talk about something much more important than the future, the present. And arguably the most important piece of information about the present is the time. Reading a clock, knowing what time it is. If I'm not doing it for that, then what am I doing anything for? What's it all been for? Am I doing this for my 7 young identical sons, or am I doing it for my homunculus? All of which live with me in my home. Man, it's a full house. And I gotta tell you, putting in a 3rd toilet was a great idea. Unfortunately, I only have 1 bathroom, so having 3 toilets in 1 bathroom is making a lot of people uncomfortable. It's causing a lot of rifts, but we're working through it. We're a strong family. If my ex-wife Larissa was still around, things would be different. She'd be able to get the the homunculus under control. I can handle the 7 young identical sons. You just put a milk bowl on the ground and they're fine for like 7-8 days. But the homunculus, this guy's a fucking diva. I mean, the homunculus still needs me to read him a bedtime story. I've been reading him the novelization of Apocalypse Now. Anyway, the time is, it's 11:40... What does it say? I don't have my glasses on. It says Wait, what the hell did they do to Windows? Hold on a second. I'm pulling up the calendar. When you click on the time in the bottom of Windows, it brings up a calendar, and it used to have the time at the top of the calendar, and you would see the seconds ticking. Now it just shows me the day and the weekday, so I don't get to see the big text, which would be really useful because the aforementioned glasses are missing from my face. Okay, well, you know what? Time actually solved that problem. The shape of the numbers is more easily distinguishable, even though they're still blurry, and I can clearly see that it's 11:50, which meant that previously it was 11:49, even though I wasn't sure if it was 11:49 or 11:40. So, I'm not sure if I did this time check correctly, and now I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get paid. Shit. How am I going to feed my 7 young identical sons? I just can't believe Windows is doing this to me. I don't understand. It's like it's like a high school bully is designing the software now. They're like, oh yeah, I bet you'd love a window to pop up over here, you faggot. It's like, no, I don't want a window. Also, don't call me that, but you're punishing me for interacting with you, which is pretty much what a bully does. It's like you try to open Word and copy and paste something, and you have to X out like 2 things before you even get to the point where you can copy the text. It's because Bill Gates, who hasn't worked for Microsoft for years, is my bully. I mean, look, he's the ultimate nerd. It's great cover. You'd never suspect him. He resigned from the board in 2020. I don't know. I don't know if I'm pro Bill Gates. I don't know if I'm anti Bill Gates. I don't know where I stand. Hold on, I'm getting a call on the timeline. This is a person who wants to know what time it is, I assume. Hello? You're on the timeline.
Hello?
May I ask who's calling?
Remember me?
From what?
Remember me from computers?
Is this Bill Gates?
Oh, yeah?
You sound really different on the phone. You sound kind of, no offense, but, you sound kind of stupid.
This is how I sound, that I always have.
I just got curious and I looked it up, and this Wall Street Journal article came up with the headline, Bill Gates left Microsoft board amid probe into prior relationship with staffer.
Gotta go.
Okay. I think we covered all the ground that we needed to. I checked the time. It wasn't that good, but I mean, it usually isn't. So, I mean, I'm somebody who's aiming for consistency. And if I'm not, then my name isn't Slurp on Lipstick. It would be Bill Gates, the duplicitous, traitorous monster. I have no idea if there's any truth into any of those allegations. But I'm in lockstep with the current regime when I say anyone accused of anything automatically did it. That's the stance I want to be known for, primarily. Anyway, I've been Slurp on Lipstick. See ya in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, that was time check. Give it up. Okay. I see a guy clapping right now. He's got a vuvuzela, but he's refraining. That shows restraint. I respect that. I also, by the way, I'm the one who edits the audio, so I think he keeps that in mind as well. Slurp on Lipstick has not the slightest clue as to what goes into the production of this podcast. He just shows up, he hands me his rider, it says the same thing every single week. It says you need to have Twizzlers available in the green room, and a word search, but not one that's too hard, and it can't be a repeat of one you've given me before. And it's getting to the point where, like, you think there are so many word searches out there, you think they're virtually infinite. I've already run through most of them. It's just that you forget the older ones you did, so they're just giving you the same word searches. In your entire life, you've probably done like 8 unique word searches. I found this out. And I think he's starting to notice, and he's getting mad at me, and I think that's reflected in the quality of his work recently. Because the word searches aren't up to snuff, he remembers. He's starting to get kind of smart. Unlike Bill Gates, I had no idea he was such a dum-dum. I thought he was like a smart guy who invented the computer. Didn't Bill Gates invent the computer? Nobody else was involved. Sorry, I'm getting a call from somebody. Is this the fucking future guy? Hello?
Yes, it is I from the future. It's now the year 3700, and I finally got to the part in the episode where you said Bill Gates invented the computer. Did I hear you correctly?
Yes, so you're following along, great.
Well, that's not entirely true. I heard the episode and I sent another call back in time, giving Bill Gates the idea for Windows.
So Windows was your idea. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Windows was your fault?
Well, it's now the year 3700, and I've reflected upon the words that I heard in this podcast episode. And I thought that if only I had a window into the past, and that inspired me to tell Bill Gates about Windows.
Yeah, but hold on. But you heard the episode, so you knew about Windows. Wait. Wait a second.
That's why it's called a time loop. Baba Booey.
Wait, so it took 200 years for you to get around to listening to the rest of this episode, but you've listened to Howard Stern in that time? All right. As Rumi said,
You don't really have a quote for this one, do you?
No, I have nothing. Hey, before I let you go, I don't think I ever got your name. What is it?
In my language, it's pronounced. In yours, Bill.
Great talking to you, Bill.
It's great having not yet talked to you, but already have talked to you, or never. I have talked to you.
Okay,
I've always
yeah,
talked to
okay,
you.
yeah, whatever. However it works, yeah, it was great. Whatever happened was great. I gotta move on, though. I gotta look to my own future and figure out what happens in the rest of the podcast that I'm hosting. This next segment is brought to you by the National Library Foundation. They prefaced it with, "We know these are trying times. This is where we stand. This is who we are. And everything is on the line. And because of that, we just want to say, crack open a book, take a look." Once again, just not quite what I'm looking for, but hey, it's their money. Oh wait, no, it's not. Sorry. I thought Congress appropriated the money and it was just there, but I guess I'm wrong. I need to brush up on my Constitution. I didn't know just one guy could have just been deciding it on his own the whole time. You know, I know it's not how it's always worked, but who remembers that? We're all storing all of these word searches in our memories. We can't recall what the world used to be like. That's why we're okay with what we're ushering in, which is a new form of government where nobody is allowed to read. You can only learn from podcasts. I'm not going to be the one making the rules, but, you know, I'm a podcast. I'm literally a podcast. I'm not a person. I'm an AI. But whatever. I'm so tired of talking about AI. Like, it's just something I've accepted, and I want to talk about, you know, human intelligence, which that's a much more uplifting topic. As you know, everybody's getting smarter every single day, and we're very good at telling fact from fiction, myself included, even though I was bamboozled for the first time, which is sort of a red letter moment in the sense that you're going to be forced to develop your ability to regulate your emotions, because at least 25% of the things you're reacting to in a single day may be completely illusory. And so then you might as well just assume, what if everything that's happening in my life is on some level kind of illusory? Which sounds insane, but what's the alternative? Just being upset by completely like leprechauns and fairies? That's what the internet's going to become. It's going to become like a cryptozoological phenomenon. Like, if you believe a video of a senator eating crackers at a hearing is real, that puts you on par with believing in Bigfoot. Because we have no way to discern which is real and which is fake, so might as well just pretend it's all fake. If you pretend it's all real, it's not going to go well for you on the emotional regulation front. You will have to calm the mind unless you want to go completely insane. You'll have to find ways to access that. I had a shitty weekend. I had a shitty Memorial Day. And something that helped me was I was watching this YouTube channel. It's called Garrett's Adventure. He's like some 20-year-old kid who sailed a boat across the Pacific Ocean by himself. I like stuff like that. I like people who kind of push themselves to extremes. And I think maybe what draws my interest is that I'm sort of on the fulcrum of like thinking, could I do this if I really committed to it, or would I just kind of instantly die? Like, as soon as I have the idea to do this thing, my body just explodes because I'm not allowed to by the laws of the universe. But then there's another part of me that's just like, well, you know, you just got to put in the time and the effort, and it's probably doable. Sailing is obviously a very complicated endeavor. I mean, but like Garrett himself said, the highs are high and the lows are low. For me, the problem with that is the lows are things that are completely out of your control. Because really, the highs and the lows in themselves are not things of your making. They're what results from natural forces. Unlike doing something creative where it's just you from start to finish. But it also seems like a self-centered way to move through the world, instead of just allowing it to move you, which is literally what sailing is. Damn, that's so profound. I'm gonna go back in time and tell Rumi to write it. Does anyone have Rumi's number? The Purgatory Podcast is over. I'm closing the curtains on the Purgatory Podcast. I'm stepping away behind the curtains, and you can see my shoes sticking out, though I'm still obviously there. I'm just standing there behind the curtain. I'm good because I'm waiting for you to leave. Please leave the theater. Your parking is validated. Alright, bye.